All right, so the first thing we're gonna do if we have a dog, we're trying to do some training and we're not able to give them food rewards because they won't take food for whatever reason. First thing we're gonna do is try to manipulate that hunger drive, bring the hunger drive up, which means we have to troubleshoot a couple things. First of all, you wanna make sure you're not jumping the gun on your training progression. What happens is you start to kind of speed through your training steps, your training progression steps, and instead of laying and focusing on a good foundation, you start getting excited and you escalate into distraction work, socialization work, things that should be happening later on in your training progression without finishing your fundamentals. So if you don't jump the gun, a lot of times you focus on the basics, your dog's hunger drive will develop because you're not pushing them too far too fast. The other thing that I see a lot of times is maybe the dog is overweight. Maybe the dog has excessive calories already stored in their body and they don't really need food. So what we do in that case is we just start feeding them their food out of our hand. All right, so if they don't get their food out of a bowl, that they get the opportunity to eat out of our hand twice a day. A lot of times those dogs are going to start taking the food out of our hand, and we might mix the kibble that they're eating, or if they're eating raw food, we'll have raw food in our hand. Yes, we put a little glove on for that, or you can mix it with training treats. Whatever you want to do, you can mix and match your food to try and get them to eat their food out of your hand. A lot of times that resolves the problem within a couple of days, like three to 5 days typically. We're giving the dog plenty of opportunity to take food from our hand. If they don't take the food, they just don't get food. They will get to the point where they start taking food from your hand because they're starting to get hungry and they're used to you trying to do that routinely throughout the day. The other thing that we'll do is we'll use a prey drive, have the dog start chasing us with food in our hand. So we'll have the dog out in a training area, have him on a leash, and then whenever that dog is paying attention to us or looking at us, we start backing up with food in our hand, and that movement backward a lot of times entices that dog's prey drive to start moving with us, and then we just dart our hand rapidly to the side. That will instigate their prey drive right to our hand, and inside of our hand is a food reward. So then the dog chases our hand, it gets up to our hand, it sniffs it, it eats the food, it thought, hey, that was fun, and it wants to do it again. So for a lot of dogs, using their prey drive to get them start taking food is a big deal, helps out a ton. A lot of these techniques you can mix and match to be very effective together. A lot of times, insecure dog is another situation. A very insecure or anxious dog, they can't calm themselves down to even take the food from your hand. So the first thing we do for that, routine and ritual, every single day we do the same thing, right? The kennel is a resting place. Take the dog out of the kennel, take it outside, take it to the bathroom, give it an opportunity to go to the bathroom, and then immediately try some food work. Then after that, go right back to the kennel. So a lot of these insecure, anxious dogs, they need that routine and ritual for 7 to 9 days before they start getting really comfortable taking food in that routine. As soon as they start taking food, you can start adding things to your routine throughout the day to try and progress your training. But those highly insecure, anxious dogs, they just need that routine to calm their mind down so they can start taking food. So like I said, these are very common troubleshooting things that we do, very successful at manipulating hunger drive and then progressing as we move forward. Once we have the hunger drive started, then we're doing our lures, then we're doing our muscle memory for obedience, we're doing our eye contact, we're increasing our progression as that hunger drive increases. If we hit a little roadblock and we lose hunger drive for some reason, we go back to troubleshooting that. Same tactics we just talked about, bringing that hunger drive back up. Once the hunger drive's back up, then we continue to proceed, right? So like I said, the priority is manipulating that hunger drive, increasing the hunger drive so it can be used properly for our training. All right guys, so let's say you've maximized all available options to try and troubleshoot and manipulate your dog's hunger drive. Still not working. There's still work that you can do. I'm about to show you how you can teach a dog without food to heel, to sit, to down. You're gonna wanna go at a much slower rate than you could with food. And that's because whenever we're using some leash pressure to help us complete our training, there's gonna be a little bit more stress involved, and we wanna keep that stress as low as possible. So you only wanna do about 3 to 5 repetitions at a time and then take a break. Throughout the whole process though, you are gonna wanna constantly test your dog and see if they will start taking food, because a lot of times when you start adding in this style of training I'm gonna show you, your dog will start taking some food with you, okay? So real quick note, anytime I'm doing this, I do prefer a prong collar for this because it won't be as much pressure on the dog's neck. I don't want to overly pressure their neck. So we'll use a prong collar just to get enough sensation on the dog to get them to start moving and developing, okay? I have this dog right here. She is extremely insecure and fearful, all right? So for heeling, all you're gonna do, you're gonna let the leash help teach that dog to follow you, okay? So you're gonna start walking, you're gonna hold on to your leash, and you're gonna let the leash do the work for you, okay? So we got some people and stuff moving around behind the camera. So I start walking. Notice I'm just using the leash here to guide her with me right here, okay? Just little taps on the leash if she's not staying with me, okay? Remember, heeling is on our left side, so notice she's kind of like behind me. She's a little bit fearful. All I do is just use the leash to encourage her right here, which is where that prong collar really helps me, because just a little bit of tension on that prong collar can give a sensation enough to get them moving. I'm not looking for anything perfect right now. I'm just looking for basic foundational concepts done, right? So all I do right here, just letting the leash work with me here, getting some basic concepts of staying on my left side. Now I'm about to turn around real quick, so as I turn, I'm gonna let the leash help guide her to my left leg, right? So I will slide down the leash right here, and I'll just grab short, and I'll just do little tugs right here toward my left leg, okay? Now, as I'm walking in this direction now, notice she's relatively good on my left side, but she's going a little bit ahead of me. In that case, I'll just give a little tug, right? Little tug of the leash right here. I can also tug right here, trying to get her sense of direction to be toward my left leg, right? Notice her tail, so you can see she's fearful. The trick here is not to get rushed up. So see how she's way ahead of me now? I'll just hold on to the end of the leash, I'll turn, I'll move back this way, okay? Nope. Guide her back to my left side right here, and then I'll keep moving, right? So if they get too far ahead of me, like this right here, they get too far ahead of me, I just turn, I use the leash, I bring him back to my left side right here, right? She's getting pretty fearful of the cameraman, so I just reset, bring her back to the left. She goes ahead of me right here, slide out that leash, let the leash do the work for me. I turn back this way. If she goes ahead of me, I just use that leash to bring her to my left leg right here, okay? Just like that. Little amounts of leash communication to get them fundamentally aware of the basic concepts of what you're trying to teach. And right now our focus is just walking right next to us. So notice, every time she stalls, every time she goes ahead of me or whatever, I just use that leash to guide her right here. She's a little bit too far ahead of me for my concept. So I just slide down my leash with my left hand. Little bit of communication on that leash to move back to me. Notice she has a hard time with that, right? She's fighting it because she really wants to get over here. So I can let out that leash, move back this way, use that leash to my advantage here, okay? So yeah, if you're in a neighborhood doing this, you might be walking back and forth on your sidewalk, that's okay. Don't plan on taking a long walk doing this until you build up your behavior. So I'm just going back and forth right here, going back and forth with this concept, using the leash to communicate. I'm slowing down, right? If I feel like I'm getting sped up, I slow down. Good, little bit of leash communication here. I'm not looking for anything perfect right now. That will come later. Right now I'm just looking for basic concepts, right? Very nice right here. She's doing a lot better with just a couple of repetitions of walking back and forth right here. So you could do this in your backyard. You could do it on a sidewalk back and forth in your neighborhood. You could do it in a variety of places. But your concept here, take it slow, use the leash to communicate, work on the concepts of what you're trying to teach your dog, the foundations of it, and then as that gets easier, build upon that, build upon it, okay? All right, guys, to teach your dog to sit, if you have a dog like this, you're gonna keep this as simple as possible for your dog. You're gonna use some tactile communication here. So basically what I'm gonna do, I'll slide down the leash, gentle tug up on the leash. At the same time, I'm just gonna gentle tap her hips. That should instigate a sit movement from her, okay? So let's see if we can get some going here. She's kind of locked up right now, so I'm just gonna take a couple steps this way with my leash. Slide down my leash right here. Put the leash in my right hand. Gentle tug up. Gentle tap on the hips. Good. As soon as she sits, I just slack the leash. Good. Give her some pets. Even though she's in a very stressed state because of her own fear and insecurity, I can still pet her, right? Whenever she does a behavior, right? So now she's in a sit. So if I want to do another repetition, I've got to move her, right? So I start moving. She's generally going to follow your body the way your body moves. I'm using the leash to help me here. So let's do another sit real quick. So I just slide down. Okay, so she's doing it automatically because once I stopped, I kind of pulled up on this and she's already realizing that whenever I pull up on that to go ahead and put her butt down, okay? So let's do it again. Raven, free. Notice how she's locked up. I just lean till she comes with the leash. This is leash pressure right here without food, okay? Good girl. Good girl. So right here, just gonna pull up, gentle, okay? Didn't even have to tactilely touch her hips, but you guys get the concept, just a gentle touch on the hips. It's just a little tap. What that does is it makes her aware of her body, okay? So we're trying to communicate to her that, hey, even though you're fearful, even though you're insecure right now, you do have different parts of your body, and if I touch her hips, that makes her aware of her hips so she can move them. Because what happens with a lot of dogs that are fearful or insecure, they start not being able to think about that, right? Because of everything that's going on around them. So right here, some leash pressure. Once she moves with it, I can slack it right there, and it's gonna slack on its own. So I come right here, gentle pull up right here, gentle pull, gentle tap. Pull, tap. Good, there we go. So that was a repetition right there. Good, good girl. Repetitions of that, you say sit, she sits, you don't have to pull on the leash, you don't have to touch her hips anymore. Easy day. Your down concept is gonna be very similar. It's just that you're changing the direction of your leash. So whenever I'm doing this with a dog like Raven here, I like to get, you know, on my knee real quick. That way I have better handling of what's going on. So I've got Raven right here. And this time my tactile movement is gonna be right here on her shoulders, okay? And my leash is gonna guide her downward, right? So once I'm right here, instead of pulling up on the leash like I would for a sit, all I do right here is I just do a gentle tug downward, and I'm gonna basically stroke her back right here. Good, notice how she kind of lays right down, good. The reason why when they're downing, you wanna pet down the back like this, that promotes a down position. If they're sitting, you pet underneath the chin, that promotes a sit position. Okay, good girl. All right, so it doesn't really matter what position you're in. I do prefer them being on my left side when I'm doing this. So first I want to get her into a, well actually let's do it without a sit this time. So if I was doing a down, I would get down on one knee, gentle tug downward, and then I would start stroking down on her body like this. Good. Now notice her front end went down, her back end is still up. That's because of that tactile movement I was talking about. She's not aware of her rear end. So I can just tap this, tap it a little bit. Good. Get her to move that down, okay? So like I said, a dog like this, they're in this state. We got a lot of stuff going on. She's fearful, she's insecure, right? She's learning how to operate. She's learning how to do things. You can tell that she's moving with these little signals that I'm giving her with the leash in my hand, but that was a perfect example. Her butt's staying up, her shoulders are down. So she's not aware of her body, so I gotta help her be aware of her body, right? Raven, free. So let's do another one. So right here, she went ahead and sat. That means she's getting more comfortable with this kind of concept. I'll usually come down right here. If I want to say down first, I would just say Raven down. And then I would give a little bit of a leash and then a little stroke down the back right here. Notice I've got some pretty significant leash signaling going on because she's not moving down this time. Raven. Raven. Good girl. So right here, notice her feet. So let me try this. There we go. Good. So again, it's tactilely helping them be aware of their body. They also don't know what we want them to do. We got to teach them at the same time. So this time, whenever I was helping her go down, she wouldn't go right down. She's really struggling. We got some more dogs moving over here. So what I did was I took my finger, I came up behind the leg that was kind of locked out, and I just basically lifted up at her ankle to make her aware of, hey, move your ankle on her front foot. So she moved it, then she went down relatively smooth, right? So that might be something that you see. So again, it's your dog's not fighting you. Your dog doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know what you want them to do. And you know, with food, the dog's learning because they want the food, and then we dial back the food, we titrate it off. With this type of learning, you know, they're in a stressed state. They're not able to take food because they're stressed out. And so we use the leash to help us. We use tactile movement to help us so they know how to move their body. Now, one thing I will constantly do is I will constantly test the food drive. So all I would do for that is I got a piece of food in my hand, I'd just bring it right in front of their nose. Notice how she didn't take it. I'll just drop it between her paws. I'll do that a couple times, right? So right here. And then I might hang out here because now she's kind of just laying there, right? So I'll just leave it there. And if I'm here for 5 or 10 minutes and then she just happens to eat it, that tells me, okay, my hunger drive is starting to open up, right? If she doesn't eat it, totally fine. I'll try it again next time I'm out. But just so you know, with her specifically, she's at the point she will take. All right. Oh, okay. I thought she was going to do it, but she will take food from me in the kennel. She will not take food from me outside of the house, right? So if I'm in the house, specifically in her kennel, she'll take a bunch of food from me. I can feed her whatever I want in there. If I take her a couple steps outside of her kennel, she will still eat, but is more picky. When I bring her out here, not eating. Okay. So this is what we're doing right now to help her develop as time goes on. Hopefully her hunger drive kicks in out here, right? But sometimes it doesn't. Good girl. And same thing with your eye contact. You know, with food, we would reward a lot of eye contact. I'm still going to be doing my physical contact whenever she's giving me eye contact, right? Hopefully this helps you out. Keep leaving comments. Let us know what you need to see. We appreciate it, and see you next time.